Hi everyone, and welcome to this episode of Fan Art Friday. In this video I'm drawing Chloe from Life is Strange, and I'm really excited to finally be working on this one. Life is Strange is such an awesome game. I wanted to make sure I drew both of these amazing characters. I had a lot of fun working on last week's drawing, and the support on that one was amazing. It really meant a lot, and I wanted to make sure I worked on this drawing of Chloe for you as well. I started off by working on the outlines of this drawing with a sepia coloured Copic Marker pen that's 0.05mm. Using an extremely fine pen like this really gives you the opportunity to spend more time on the line work and to focus on the dynamic changes between the thick lines and the thin lines. I like to add some thick lines around the undersides of some features, especially around the underside of her face and underneath some parts of the hair, and it really helps to focus more detailing on the prominent features of the drawing. With the outlines completed, I then moved on to the colouring, and for the colouring I used Copic Markers. I started off by using a pinkish white for the base layer of the skin tone. I used this lightly and then added an extra layer around some of the areas that I wanted darker, so that was around the left side of the face and the inner corner of the left eye or along the side of the nose. I wanted to keep one side of this drawing completely highlighted in white, so it really showed a strong contrast between the highlights and the shading. For the second layer of the skin tones I then used a pale grape, and for the third layer I used light grape. The light grape is much darker, so I had to be a bit more sparing with that. I used it around the eye and along the left side of the nose and along the left side of the face. And once it was laid down I wanted to blend it into the colouring, so I had to use the pale grape over the top of it again to kind of blend between the colours and help smooth the gradient and not have such a sharp line between the shading. To add some extra colour gradients and trying not to make the skin tones seem too grey, I added some extra layers of colouring over the top of this. I used the blush marker, especially around the inner corner of the eye, and I also used a pale heath marker. This gives a nice sort of purple tone. It's very light and it's nice to use over the top of this kind of shading. For the bottom layer of colouring on her lips I used the blush marker, and then over the top of that I used baby blossoms. I also used this baby blossoms marker to colour her eyelids, and I feel like they gave a really nice warm tone that really blended very well with the skin tones. It's a very nice warm colour, and it works well with the already laid down shading. And then after I'd added those layers of colours I started to add some detailing to the eyebrows and the eyes. I started off by using warm greys, I think warm grey 5 and warm grey 7, just adding some darker shading around the edges of the eyelid. And then I added some darkness to the eyebrows, and I used a black Copic marker to add detailing to the eyelids and the eyelashes, adding on some nice thick eyelashes to both eyes. With the colouring of the skin tones and the details to the face added, it was time to move on to the colouring of the hair. And to start off with the base layer of colouring I used a robin's egg blue. This is a really nice blue colour. It's nice and light, so it's a nice first layer. And then over the top of that I used a mixture of different blues. I started off by adding a layer with the sky blue marker, and I also used a holiday blue, and I think I used ice blue as well to add another lighter tone over the top. And at that point I left the colouring as it was, but I come back to that part of the drawing later on in the video to add some more colouring and to add some pink tones to the top of the hair. For the shading of her beanie I used a cool grey number 5, and then I added a line along the bottom to help separate it from the hair, and I used cool grey number 7. I wanted to make sure I added the butterfly to this drawing, and I placed it in a very obvious and prominent place. I had it so it would contrast well with the shading of the beanie, and it would blend well with the colouring of the previously laid down hair colour. So I started off the colouring of the butterfly's wings with a robin's egg blue, and then over the top of that I used process blue and sky blue. I textured the layers of the wing to have kind of lines and to show that kind of textured effect you'd see on a butterfly wing that has that kind of rippled effect. I also used a black Copic marker to add some outlining around the wings and adding the darkness to the butterfly's body. I also used a Copic multiliner to add some extra detailing around the butterfly's wings and to add the antennae. I used this black multiliner to add some extra outlines around the drawing. I started off by adding some darker outlines around the bottom of the face. I also used it around the underside of her beanie, and around some of the undersides of some parts of the hair to help make some of the strands of hair stand out, and it kind of adds that layering effect and make the hair stand out even more. As a final touch, I added a pink and purple colouring to the top parts of her hair. I started by using a pure pink marker to add some colouring to the highlighted areas, and then I used a mallow marker to add some purple colouring to some of the darker shaded areas towards the top of the hair. And this really worked well. It was a nice kind of subtle way of adding that kind of colouring to the hair. And then over the top of it I used a Uni-ball highlighter pen to add some highlights around some of the streaks of hair. I also used this highlighter pen to add some highlights to the tip of her nose and to her lips, and some parts of the highlighting on the butterfly's wings. And with that done, that was the drawing completed, and I had a lot of fun working on this drawing. It was the same as last week, where I wanted to test what I could do with the markers to create skin tones. It's a new style of drawing that I've been trying with these Copic markers, and I definitely want to continue it along with the anime drawings. Please be sure to let me know what you think in the comments below, and if you have any more suggestions for drawings in the future, then please let me know as well. And if you enjoy videos like this, then make sure you're subscribed, and any likes or shares on this video are hugely appreciated, and it really means a lot to me. If you want to follow me on Twitter or Facebook or Instagram and follow along with the progress photos throughout the week, then be sure to check out the links in the description box below. And once again, thank you so much for the support on this channel. It really means a lot to me, and I can't wait to work on some more drawings for you. Thanks for watching this video, and I'll see you all soon.